Hey guys, it's me. I'm back. I was struggling to think about what the next video should be, like the next topic I should talk about, so to speak. Um, well, right now, I'm thinking we talk about women. Guys too, of course. Um, but just in general, my opinions on the self help and state of people, I guess, because I'm just an average guy, you know? I have nothing to sell you. I haven't bought into any of these. I have no vested interest in trying to help other people uh, at all, really. But I think it is an interesting topic because it's something that I don't see very many people talk about. And if they do talk about it, it's never like the main focus of the video. It's always like a passing comment or something they just comment on while watching something else, you know? And I don't know, it's. I don't know what I'm going to title the video, but that's basically it. We're just going to talk about all that. And I kind of want to get into, like, at first, the topics of, when, like, let's start with self help in general. And, like, the gurus who try to sell you how to be better as yourself, either your gender or whatever, and how to interact with other genders or whatever, right? Um, and it is sad to see some people like buy into like fantasies of if you wake up at 4 a.m. every morning, or if you throw away all the basic needs that you might need, you can become a millionaire or super independent or don't need no man, don't need no woman, whatever, right? It's really sad. Frankly, kind of pathetic too to like watch people say this and then also watch other people fall for it because they're just down on their luck or they're stupid. It's one or the other, right? Like, on one hand, it's not good to take advantage of, vulnerable people at their lowest, but it's also kind of some people's faults for just being dumb enough to fall for something like that. I blame the gurus more than I blame the people, right? I'm not trying to say it like I'm not victim blaming them completely. But, when you're an adult, there's a certain level of accountability. Obviously, I'm not talking about like 15-year-olds who fall into some like Andrew Tate play or anything like that, you know? And obviously, I don't think everything Andrew Tate says is bad, right? Like I think there's value in like him being like, you should have self worth. You should work hard at what you want to earn. Stuff like that. I don't agree with like anything he says that is wrong, like demeaning women or simply like if you do XYZ thing, you'll become a millionaire or whatever. Like whatever, right? But I do think there's value in just anybody who says in general that you should take care of yourself, right? I mean, hell, I'm still trying to take care of myself, and I had to do it all alone. I didn't have any gurus help because I don't believe in it. Same thing with therapy. I've never really been into therapy. It's never worked for me. I've tried it. It doesn't help at all. I'm more of like a pull yourself up by your bootstraps kind of guy. I probably get that from my grandpa. He is a really strong guy. Uh, but I personally I believe that if as long as you just put in effort to be better and to go for what you want to get, you'll probably do it. There are chances that you probably won't. I say it's like a 70% chance, really. If you really go for what you want to do, you'll probably get there. 60% if you're just kind of trying, and 0% if you don't do anything at all, right? Um, like, I think there's a 0% chance what you want will just fall into your lap, right? Um, but depending on how much effort you put in is probably based on a little bit of luck, but also, your smarts, what you try to do. Getting off topic here, but I think there's value in remembering that there doesn't need to be extremes. on either side, right? You, just because you're a woman and you want to be independent and on your own doesn't mean you have to remove all men from your life and drown yourself in work, not have kids, avoid all kinds of fun. Like, you don't need to be a successful woman and do all that. You can still be successful and have a fun life, right? Oh, if that life is fun for you, sure, right? But I've seen plenty of women drown themselves in work and then find themselves wanting a family, but they feel like it's too late because they haven't even tried for like 40 years. But it's not going to be the same for everybody, and that's the case with everything in the world. No one's going to have 100% similar cases, right? But you know, and the same thing with guys. Guys feel the world is against them, which it mostly is, right? In today's climate, anyway. It wasn't always like that. But they feel like, every woman is going to cheat on them. Every woman is going to, you know, have some sort of trick and plan and screw them over in the future. It, like I said earlier, it's not 100% of cases. The same way women think. Women think, or some women, not all, of course. Some women will think all men will hurt them, all men will take advantage of them. I think you just have problems with your father. Like, I don't think it's all men. Because nothing is absolute in this world, I mean, other than the sun rising and setting. But we'll see how long that lasts. Maybe the planet will get hit by a meteorite and get thrown off its axis. And then I'll look like an idiot, 3,000 years from now. God forbid that happens. But I think it's in today's climate, in specifically America's social climate, a man is expected to, be rich, be popular, be older, be taller, and all these different things that are just really not even 80% of the male population. Like, I feel like 80% of males are forced to be 10% of males. Not even that. I would say 95% of males are kind of expected to be 5% of males, right? We're not all Brad Pitt, We're not all, like, Mr. CEO that no one ever hears about that you see at a fancy restaurant one night, We're not all that. And it's the same thing with women, I mean, when I was younger, I kind of expected women to be similar to, like, the actresses or stuff, people in video games. But I was like a teenager. I was like a young kid, 12, 13, 14. I grew up expecting that, and I think a lot of people did. It's worse now, for sure, with OnlyFans and, like, Instagram models. It's 100% worse for people, like men specifically, growing up expecting a certain type of girl, only to find out that OnlyFans is, like, what was it, 2% or 20%? I can't remember. I remember seeing a video earlier. OnlyFans is only like a small portion of the population, but it's still a lot of people, right? Like, millions of people do it. And, there's hundreds of millions of people in the United States. And I feel like it really ruins people's perspectives on how people should be. And it creates these extremes in people, And, like, if I were to walk outside and go to, like, my Starbucks, my GameStop, my Best Buy, Target, whatever, right? I would be more likely to find a average woman who's just hanging out, living life, and an average dude who's just hanging out, living life, than I would be able to find, like, an extremist version of a guy or a girl online, right? And that's because online is just kind of, like, put out there. And I feel like people forget that, and the fact that we don't see the average people online creates more extremist people, right? It's the same thing with politics, right? Online, you're really only seeing extreme left, extreme right politics, but the second you go outside, there's more nuanced perspective. There's more, hey, maybe this is good, but this is also bad. This can be good, but this can also be bad. People see the good and the bad. People can see the middle when you go out and talk in normal society. But a lot of people online try to make you think the world is extreme. No, don't get me wrong. I definitely think America, at least, I can't speak on the rest of the world. I'm not a citizen in any of these countries, right? But I definitely think America is a lot more extreme than the rest of the world when it comes to everything. Um, but I also think that we have a lot of average people that are becoming extreme because the extreme people online are forcing people to pick sides in the real world, right? I feel like, back when I was growing up, right, there wasn't a lot of in real life extremism. It was always online. It was on 4chan, it was on Reddit, it was whatever, right? People were extreme, but people brushed it off as whatever. But these extremist people started chastising you and affecting you in your real life spaces. This person said a woman belongs in the kitchen, whether it was a joke or not, right? That person would have their life ruined over something like that. And that probably radicalized that guy or that girl or whoever said that statement or any statement like that, and they became an extremist online person. It's like a game of Agario or Plagued Ink, right? These little infections start eating people up on the internet. They start going outside and they eat people up and they start trying to convert them to their cause, or they ruin their life if they don't join their cause. And it's really weird, to think about that. But I think a lot of people should understand that there is no cure to you. There is no cure to you as a person and your life other than yourself. You are literally the disease and the cure to your own life, and it all depends on how you apply it. I mean, hell, it took me forever to realize that, right? I talked in my last video. I always put the blame on everything else except for myself. But I think now, with growing up and being an adult and being in the real world instead of online all day, it's I think I've learned, as long as you focus on yourself, and if you have a family, you focus on your family, nothing else really matters at all. You know? Like it look, if you're depressed, work out. It's everyone who's ever been depressed, every doctor you'll ever talk to, anybody agrees that if you're depressed and you do a little bit of physical activity, it'll help you feel better. Like I said earlier, though, not everything is 100% of cases, not everything is absolute. You might be the rare person that it doesn't work out for, right? That's fine. I'm sure there's something out there for you that'll work. But at least for most people, exercising helps. And I'm not trying to say like a health guru, work out every day, 10 times a week, right? Like whatever. But what I'm trying to say is if you can spare 10, 20, at least 30 minutes a day, maybe not even a day, 30 minutes like every other day or every week, depending on, how much you're comfortable with or how much you want to do. You don't need to be a bodybuilder, but it's really good to try to stay in shape. It makes you feel better. It makes your body feel better, your mind. You're just better, right? This is kind of where I get into my version of the guru talks that aren't so extreme, right? And of course, you're more than welcome to think I am extreme here or have a biased point of view, because I probably do. I think everybody has a little bit of bias, right? That humans are a culmination of the environment they grew up in, right? So there is no way to tell if I am unbiased or if I'm just regurgitating what I think works because of where I grew up, right? Or how I grew up. But I'd like to think I'm pretty fair in most cases, And if I get new information, I'm pretty open to changing my mindset as long as I'm shown proof or countering evidence, right? But, I think if you just work out 5 minutes, just start with 5. And maybe it's like push-ups, You do 10 push-ups a day, you add one every day until you can't go anymore, but every day you just try to do one more push-up. Maybe that helps for you. Maybe you just walk, you go for a walk, 10 minutes, 30 minutes, go for a jog, whatever. Just being physically active and out there in the world can really improve your mindset, especially if you're online all day. Being at a computer all day sucks. It drains you, you know? You get friends, you play games, and then when you bounce from friend group to friend group online, it can really mentally put a toll on you. Even if you think you've adjusted to it or you're used to it. I mean, I'm speaking from experience here. Having to put so much effort and so much time in your life to being friends with so many people all day, every day, sucks, right? And it's different than just taking a day to yourself. It's different than just not playing with them for a day or not talking to them, whatever. If you don't have that outside interaction with either real people, like face to face, or you don't have the physical aspect to it, like exercise, it'll drain you. There's something you have to do to connect your body to reality, right? Or it'll just take a toll on you. When it comes to waking up early in the morning, who cares if you wake up at 4 a.m. or 6 a.m., wash your face 8 times with the same bowl of water, jump into a pool? Who cares, right? As long as you're waking up before work or before you have to do something, I think you're okay, right? Like if you don't work till 10 a.m., who cares if you wake up at 9:30, right? I don't think anybody will fault you. Just show up and do your job. Same thing if you, like, maybe you're doing YouTube. Who cares if you wake up at 11 p.m. and you start making a video or streaming, whatever, right? Just wake up whenever you need to. When it comes to how to run a business, nobody knows how to do it. As a guru, I doubt they'll know how to run a business other than how to sell you more bullshit info or weird conflated extremist info, right? And I'd say if you want to run a business, go to business school. They'll teach you how to do it. There's obviously some stuff you can learn on your own, like manipulating markets, selling to people, sales. But at the end of the day, you'll only learn you'll learn from the beginning if you try to teach yourself, right? Or try to learn from these gurus. It's like going to medieval times and thinking you'll use your knowledge here to, start a business or something. You're starting from the beginning of business practices. You're at the like caveman bare roots of how to sell to people and how to manipulate the market. You go to business school, you learn from high-end executives, you learn from people who have been doing it for like 50 years. They'll teach you all the tricks, all the strats, all the tactics you could do to learn how to manipulate the market, and realize that they've been running circles around you. To an extent, you learning how to manipulate the market is business people manipulating you so they can use you to do other things, right? Business is just a game of gaslighting and manipulation. And spoiler alert, you're never the good one at it, right? So, it's at the end of the day, you just got to focus on yourself, And this video kind of trailed off into more than I wanted it to be. I just kind of expected to talk about men and women, their problems, whatever. I'm not even qualified to do it, but I just wanted to give my opinions. Me personally, I think my best bet is to find a non-American woman. I know a lot of people have been doing that, especially within like the last 10 years. Hell, I'd probably say more like 5 years, but for a while, I feel a lot of men and even some women, but mostly men, have been leaving the United States or finding a foreign woman outside of the United States because the climate of women in America has shifted to very promiscuous activities. And you might not find that as a problem, and that's okay if it's not your problem, but the fact is a lot of men want a faithful woman with a very nuclear family. It's a lot of people, men and women, would like to have a very traditional home. But I feel online extremism has pushed men and women apart They've caused birth rates to go down. They've caused resentment between the two genders, and I think undid years of progress to bringing the two genders together. I think men and women were the most in sync in like the 90s, early 2000s. Hell, I'd even say like 2010 to like 2013. I'd say men and women were pretty together, right? Obviously, there was feminism and there were some inequalities here and there, and that was unfortunate. Not every inequality was super inequality. I think a lot of extremists will try to look back at the past and play it up like it was massive. But what do I know? In 2010, I was 11 years old. Or 7. Hell, no, I was 8 years old? Yeah, I was 8 years old in 2011. I know a lot of people watching this, if you're somehow older than me, I'm sorry you feel old now. But yeah. But, I think a lot of men and women just want peace and to live their life and to be happy with someone else. Don't let people online fool you. You don't have to be into polyamorous relationships. You don't have to be into, promiscuism. You don't have to be okay with OnlyFans. You don't have to be okay with a girl wanting to show off her body, wanting to hang out with her ex, wanting to flirt with other dudes, but it's okay because they bought her a drink, whatever, right? Same thing with girls. Girls don't have to be okay with a guy doing the exact same things. Girls don't have to be okay with a guy who ignores them all day, every day, or whatever. But, at the same time, guys don't have to be okay with a girl who expects 24/7 attention. And I'm not trying to say, girls have to do this, guys have to do this. I'm trying to say is everybody's different. Some people are okay with like a workaholic wife, a workaholic husband. Some people are okay with, stay at home, one or the other, or give all the attention, one or the other, right? There's infinite possibilities when it comes to relationships. There's infinite possibilities when it comes to anything, really. And the real guru advice here is find the partner that works best for you. Find the lifestyle that works best for you. If you want to do something, go do it, so long as you're not hurting anybody else. If you want to learn how to fly a plane, if you want to be a bodybuilder, if you just want to work out for 30 minutes a day and play video games, go to college, or not even go to college, work at McDonald's, go to a warehouse job, be a mechanic, whatever. Whatever you want to do it, but make sure you're happy doing it. Nobody on this planet is allowed to put expectations on you. You're not allowed to put expectations on anybody else. All you're expected to do is nothing because nobody expects anything from you. The world expects zero from everybody because nobody is exceptional until they've proven themselves. And at the end of the day, you're the only person going to be buried in your coffin. So make sure you live a life you're proud of. Make sure you're happy when you do it. Spend time with your family if you still have connections with them. If you don't, find a family with your friends, coworkers, wherever. Be happy. The world doesn't need to be extreme. If I want an average life, I shouldn't have to pick an extremist side. And I feel a lot of people think like that. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Whatever. But that's how I feel. And that's my observation living online for over 20 years now. And I think you should be happy. There you go. That's my guru advice. Be happy. Period. That'll be $600, please. And you can go to my schools. You can go to my Discords. You can go to my luxury house in the vineyards or whatever. There you go. Thank you guys so much for watching. Sorry for my rambling rants. I know I'm gonna totally remember something I forgot to mention, feel like an asshole, and then move on to the next video. So, but for now, thank you guys, and appreciate you.